All right, guys, so I have ground beef. It's not in the shot, but I have several pounds of ground beef in here, and what we're doing is canning. I put the canning salt here. The canning salt is optional. The canning salt is optional. I am not going to be using the salt today. I normally use it in my chickens and in my when I can chicken or when I can beans, but I'm not going to use it for the ground beef. And so I browned. We're going to be making a mess. I browned it. It was late last night, so I put it in the fridge. And then today I took it out and I put it in the roaster just because it's so much to get it nice and warm to fill my jars. And then I've got the broth. It's not broth, it's just water. I'm not using any broth today. It's on the stove. It's nice and hot. I'll bring it here when I get ready to fill these jars. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting the ground beef in here to 1-inch headspace. And that's what I'm going to do with every jar. I'm going to pick up less this time so that maybe I get it in the jar and not on the towel. And this is all we're doing, guys. We're going to fill each jar like this, get into 1-inch headspace. And I'm going to go ahead and put the liquid in there just so that you see that, and then I'll bring you back after I have them all full. I also have the vinegar here because we're going to wipe the rims with the vinegar. All right, so I got my water. And my ground beef is to 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and get a cup of water. Go up to 1 inch. And I can hear all the air in there. I'm going to go ahead and debubble. Let's see where we're at. And when we debubble, what we're trying to do is just get all the air out. Any trapped air in there so it doesn't interfere. And I think on the next jars, I'm going to go ahead a little bit lower. I mean, I'm at 1 inch, but that's perfect. All right, so I've already debubbled. And now, because, you know, I'm taking this out, so it's getting on the rim. So I'm going to have grease on there. Let me move this over here so that I don't burn myself. So that's my vinegar. I'm going to make sure I wipe the rim really good so that there's no grease, because if I leave any grease on there, it will interfere with my seal. And when you're canning your food and you want to preserve it, you don't want to have anything interfere with your seal. So we've got that there. Put a flat, grab 2 rings, finger tight, put these into, taking these and I'm putting them into the canner on the stove, which has the hot water in it. And they'll just be waiting for all these other jars to go in there. And I will come back when they're all in the canner. I don't think you need to watch me filling this. I'll just continue to fill these and we'll be back. All right, y'all. Well, we got all the ground beef in the jars. Inside of the Nesco, I have the 2 quarts of required water and the canning rack. I had enough ground beef. You know, we have the stovetop canner going. And then this was more ground beef that I had left, and I figured let's go ahead and do it in the Nesco. So I have 3 quarts, and then I didn't have enough for a 4th quart, so I've got a pint. Now, even though it's a pint, it's going to get processed for the full 90 minutes as the quarts. And we're going to put the lid down. We're going to twist it to close. I'm going to put the dial on exhaust, and then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to hit high, which you do every time you're going to pressure can. I'm going to set my timer to 90 minutes. And then I'm going to hit start. And that's it. Now it's going to do this till it gets hot enough, and then it's going to go ahead and start venting. The venting, it'll then show E10 here for exhaust and 10 minutes of exhaust. It'll beep. I'll go ahead and set my timer for 10 minutes because it doesn't beep loud enough, and if I'm somewhere else doing something, I may not hear it, get distracted, whatever. So I'll go ahead and set my timer for 10 minutes. It'll count down from E10 down to E0. When it gets to E0, it beeps. My timer should be going off. I'll come back up here and turn the dial to airtight. Then it'll start doing this again. If it's at airtight, it'll go ahead and build its pressure. Once it gets to the pressure it needs to be at, it'll go ahead and put 90 here because 90 is the time that I set it for, and it'll start counting down from 90 to 0. At that time, I also set a timer for the 90 minutes, and then I'll come. It should be at 0. I'll go ahead and unplug it, and then I'll just let it sit for 1 or 2 hours in here without touching it at all. Just leave it, and then at that point, I'll go ahead and take it out and put it where I'm going to leave it for the next 24 hours undisturbed. All right, so here it is at E10, and it's venting. Can't really get the steam on camera, but you can hear it. And so that'll go down to E0, and then I'll come down and put it on airtight. And all right, so it's at E0, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it here to the dial. I don't know if I can get it on here. And I turn it to airtight. And you heard it stop venting. Now throughout the canning process, it will vent. You know, it'll go ahead and let out whatever it needs to let out to maintain its pressure. So we have it, see the little arrow right there, and airtight. And so that's it. It'll go ahead and it flashes E0 for a little while longer, and then it'll start that bar going around again, and it'll keep doing the bar till it reaches the temperature that it needs to be at. And once it reaches that temperature, that E0, or this right here will turn to 90, and it'll start its countdown time. Alright y'all, so it's done all of its time. It just beeped, it's on off, and all I am going to do is unplug it. I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm just going to unplug it and let it sit for a couple of hours. Alright y'all, I've waited, it's been about an hour and a half or 2 hours since it's been done, and you can see them. See, it's still boiling in there. Oops, sorry about that steam. It's still boiling. Now these two right here are already sealed, and then this one right here and this one right here haven't sealed yet. But I'm going to take them off and go put them aside. So I'm going to go ahead and get the jar lifter and put them where I'm going to leave them for the next 24 hours. Alright y'all, so the canner came down from pressure. You saw me remove the weight. Then I waited a couple of minutes just to let any steam or anything come out of there that needed to come out of there. And then I went ahead and opened up the lid, and I left it open for like 5 or 10 minutes just with the jars in there just for the temperature change. And then I just took them out. And so here they are. And so here they are. Now, all but 2 have sealed. And if you look, let's see if I can get that. I don't know why, but I like watching that. So, that's how most of them are. Now, these 2 right here, that pop that you heard is another. I had an electric canner going with some more jars in there, and I had just opened it, and there was 2 jars that hadn't sealed yet, and that was one of them sealing. So I'll have 1 more to go, and then that's good. But these 2 right here, you can see that compare to these. There's one that's not, and one that is. And these 2 have not sealed. I don't think I can get that on camera. But See, the little part is bubbled up as opposed to being, let's see, in. There's no bubbling, like right there. Right there. Yeah, and I think you can see it. That one's up. And that one is down. It's very hard to see, definitely hard to catch on camera. But they should seal, but if they happen to not seal, that's okay. I will just put them in the refrigerator and I will use them within the next few days. So that's so far 16 of them were sealed when I got them out of the canner, or as I was getting them out of the canner. These two might just have a little bit longer to go. I don't know. But there you have it, guys. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Till next time.